Welcome to another edition of Heavy Live with Scoopy. I am Brandon Scoopy Robinson, senior writer at Heavy.com, host of Heavy Live with Scoopy. And it's always a place to be when you got friends, colleagues, and notable people. No different here as I got my main man, Jeff Hamilton of Jeff Hamilton Leathers. Jeff, what's going on, sir?
Nothing much. It's just here in New York, enjoying traveling a little bit, after being in stuck up in Los Angeles for so many months.
Yes, COVID-19 has done a number on everybody, staying in the house, refocusing the way that we live and do business. And when you talk about business, we are on Heavy Live Celtics, or rather Facebook pages on the Celtics, the Chicago Bulls, the Los Angeles Lakers, as well as on Periscope and a myriad of other places, as well as YouTube. And this is significant because for anybody who pays attention to culture, the Los Angeles Lakers at large, a birdie tells me that Jeff Hamilton makes their championship leather jackets. And if you pay attention to social media, Anthony Davis sported that leather jacket. And first and foremost, where is that leather jacket?
I have a sample right now with me right here.
Do?
I do right here. I knew you were going to ask me that question.
Yes, the Los Angeles Lakers leather jacket. Champion, 17-time NBA champion. You designed that.
Of course, yes.
How long did it take you to put that design together? Walk me through.
The design just took me a couple of weeks. Obviously, we didn't know if it was going to be Miami or Los Angeles. Me being a Laker fan for many years, obviously I had a little bias, but and I was hoping that for me it was a very important thing just to try to realize the fact that not only I'm a Laker fan, but the fact that I had created some of the jackets for Michael Jordan and some of the jackets for Kobe. For me to just try to do as well LeBron, I feel like me being part of three different generations of icons in the game, the greatest players ever to play the game. I thought it was very special for me to do it, and I really wanted to be part of it. And the fact that I renew my ties with the NBA, I felt it was going to be something. It was something I really wanted to make it happen.
No, that's pretty awesome. And Anthony Davis sported the leather jacket along with some product placement with the liquor company, but that brand product placement was pretty cool. Did you know he was going to post it before he posted it? Were you shocked? What happened?
No, I knew he was going to post it, and I know as well that LeBron is going to post it. So the day after they won the championship, they won the championship on Sunday. I had prepared a jacket for LeBron and for AD, and I met with them on Tuesday afternoon. I met them, got them the jacket, and I know I'm still waiting for LeBron to put his jacket, but I know it's going to be something spectacular because I kind of know what kind of picture he's going to be taking with that jacket. So I'm not in a hurry. I'm anxious. I can't wait for him to post that picture.
Any idea? Any clues of when that post will go down?
Oh, I assume probably in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, that's a fair assessment. When you look at the NBA Finals this year, you said you didn't know if the Heat were going to win or the Lakers. We were figuring that out. What stood out to you about this Lakers team than any other Lakers team you've watched in the past? Because you're a Lakers fan as well.
I'm an NBA fan, but really, what the most important thing, obviously, was just Los Angeles has as many great icons that we've had in the game, whether it's Jerry West to Shaquille to Will Chamberlain, to Magic. I mean, well, one of the greatest icons in Los Angeles. But Kobe has a special place in the heart of any NBA fan, even more so of any Laker fan. So, dealing with the tragedy we had to deal with Kobe's passing this year, it was really very meaningful for the Lakers to try to accomplish and to win the championship because it had an added symbol to what we had, and especially the fact that year has been so difficult on so many different levels. that it was a very welcome was very welcome in the city of Los Angeles.
No, that's real. And you mentioned the fact that you have, had a relationship with Magic and Michael and Kobe and more. For those who are a little tardy to the party, you don't just make jackets for NBA championship teams. You've made jackets for Bill Clinton, former U.S. President Bill Clinton when he was in office. You've made leather jackets for the diplomats, Dipset, Jim Jones, Cameron, and all those guys. Kind of for those who are.
I've done jackets for Nelson Mandela. I've done jackets for a lot of celebrity, all the rock and rollers, and really Madonna, Michael Jackson, George Michael. So I've been very fortunate in my life just to be able to create something that I love, and also to be surrounded and having the opportunity to meet all the greatest icons of our lifetime.
Walk me back through the early days. What was your point of entry with celebrities? Because many people know or don't know that you actually were one of the founders of, if I'm not mistaken, was it the Guess Company?
Right. I was a founder in 1983. I was a founder of Guess Jeans for Men.
When did you make that transition to leather from Guess?
Once I finished my contract, I was the first licensee for the men's. Once I finished the men's company in the late 80s, I started designing. It was like my hair was all the way to my shoulder. It was the 80s. I was riding Harley Davidsons, and I needed, I just started designing jackets for myself. And everywhere I went, everybody wanted to, especially in the trade shows, all my clients wanted to get my jackets. And I really didn't want to sell those jackets because they were so complicated to make or so intricate to do. And I didn't know that there was a business for that kind of jackets. Fast forward a few years later, a friend of mine who was an NFL licensee told me, why don't we make a jacket with one of the owners of the Giants? And so I made a jacket. He wanted to do that as a present, and presented it to one of the NFL officials in the licensing department. They just loved it, so they gave me a license. From then on, right away, I got an NBA license. But already I had made some jackets for some of the NBA with some of the NBA players. My first NBA player actually was Reggie Theus. And Reggie Theus just put me together right away with Magic Johnson. It was, keep in mind, I'm an immigrant from France, and those are icons. Such untouchable icons. And suddenly, Magic introduced me to Michael, and then I started designing for all the NBA players individually. And then, of course, once I had the NBA license, I started merchandising that to all the stores and players.
Michael and the Bulls, their iconic leather jackets, were part of the 90s. You look at, I remember hearing a story at some point, I guess when Michael hit the last shot against the Utah Jazz in 98, he was looking for you. He needed his jacket instantly.
Correct.
Tell me that story.
So, he, in fact, like you went with that very famous shot. I'm in that picture, and like when he makes that shot, and Brian Russell is just falling. So and I'm probably one of the only ones with my hands up, like hoping that he's win. So I had spoken already with some of his people and some of his bodyguards, and they came to pick me up. To my seat, and I went directly to the locker room, and first thing that Michael said, Jeffrey, where's my coat?
when Michael asked for your coat, I would imagine that you got to give it to him.
Oh, for sure, yeah, and gladly.
Yes, sir. Now, what I find interesting is you and I both have this thing in common with Old Rocks Leather. You see the Old Rocks Leather step and repeat in the back. You actually have a partnership with Old Rocks Leather. You have these bags that you partnered with Old Rocks Leather, and the red and black bags that you created were a dual tribute to one, the Chicago Bulls with the red and black leather stitching, and also the fact that Orox is based in Portland, Oregon.
Correct.
I did my research on you. Tell me a little bit more about the partnership with Orox Leather.
We just started like some collaboration where we basically, this is more of a generic Jeff Hamilton. It's not a licensed product. However, we try to try to duplicate the feeling of what the jackets are and the image that the jackets represent into bags, and so I'm designing in collaboration with them some special high quality, high craftsmanship product that kind of represent the image of my brand. And they are amazing people. They have a tremendous great quality on the product that they have, and I'm very pleased with the collaboration. I really think that we are still in the early stages of growing that collaboration, but we believe it's going to be a long-term collaboration.
And for those who are paying attention, check out that collaboration with allrocksleather.com. You, to me, you, the younger kids, younger than me, recognize Kobe Bryant and Shaq, and those jackets that the Lakers wore, and when they had their three-peat, and you were responsible for those jackets. You talked about fond memories with Michael. What were your fond memories with the Lakers as it related to the duo of Shaq and Kobe winning a championship?
It is, it's home. I mean, listen, I love Michael, and Michael for me will always be the greatest, because he was the first one that did it, and just the charisma, his personality, the way. I love Michael, and but Shaq and Kobe was home, and it's home. I met Shaq before he even got drafted to Orlando, so I really have very strong personal connection with Shaq, and also the fact that during the time business was great, and I was very successful, and I sat on the court. I had courtside seats for all the Kobe championship years, and it was very special to be at the like to see them so close and be able to talk to them always, and be able to be in the locker room during the All-Star. I believe it was the All-Star. I'm not sure which one. It was 2001 or 2002, Washington or DC, the DC of Philly. I don't know which one it was, where at the beginning, in the locker room before the game, before the players' intro, I told Kobe, I said, you're going to win the MVP. So just remember, look me up after, because you're going to be the MVP of the game. And then he smiled, and of course I think it was 2001, and he became the MVP. So it was kind of really special that we had that little exchange on that. But we always loved Kobe, and since since she came to the Lakers at 17 or 18 years old.
You worked with Madonna and Dennis Rodman playing for the Bulls. I'm sure you were catty corner to him, and you're dealing with Michael and the Bulls. What did you make from Madonna, and what stands out to you for Madonna as a creative?
I really never had. I had a relationship with her, but not like a close relationship. But early on, after my guest days, when I started making jackets, and I started suddenly, I'm making jackets, and every celebrity is wearing my jacket. At the time, the Vanilla Ice and New Kids on the Block, and this one and that one, and the big producer of movie producer, Joel Silver. So this is a big article that they write about me. You're not a celebrity until you own a Jeff Hamilton jacket. So it was kind of like very flattering to me. And they said, what are your biggest regret that you didn't make jackets for? I said, well, I like Elvis. I was not the greatest fan, but Elvis was a big American icon. I said I would have loved to make a jacket for Elvis if he was alive. That was kind of a dream, and obviously I couldn't do it. So I got a call from Joel Silver, the movie producer, and tells me, I know I cannot help you with Elvis, but And I said, I'd like to do something for Elvis and something for Madonna. I said, can I help you something with Elvis? However, I can help you with Madonna. And at the time, we were shooting the movie A League of Their Own with Penny Marshall. And,
Hmm.
and he said, her birthday is in about 2 weeks. Can you just get me a jacket done in 2 weeks? I said, I don't care. I'll make it happen. And I made the jacket for him, for her birthday. And that's how I still have, I think on my Instagram, I have a couple of her pictures wearing the jacket.
That's awesome. You made a leather jacket. I still remember it was like classic. It was a classic black leather bomber jacket for former President Bill Clinton.
Right.
How does one get called to make a leather jacket for a sitting president?
Um, I had the different. In fact, I'm already talking about doing one for 46. So, uh, friends of mine, I did a lot of jackets for the Secret Service, and I became really close friends with some of the guys from Secret Service way back then, and I'm still friends with them. And I mean, it's been over 30 years. We're still very, very close friends, and uh, and I say I would love to meet President Clinton. I mean, listen, again, being an immigrant and being able to meet the most powerful man in the world, it was something special. So I made a presidential seal jacket with the navy jacket, a presidential seal jacket. And while it was one day he was in Los Angeles, and they arranged for me to meet with him and present the jacket to him. And so
The seal. Do they give you the seal? Do you replicate the seal? I'm really curious how that works.
now they gave me the artwork. They actually they gave me at the time. It was not like email was not as strong as it is now, and artwork is not exchanged the same way. So what they did was they gave me one of those those magnets that they put on the car, like when you're on the official presidential car.
Yeah.
So they gave me one of those. I duplicated the logo and just created a seal on that. Subsequent to that, I met President Clinton. I had dinner with him, and I made some other jackets for Camp David and other projects that we did together.
When you make jackets like that for the president, does he pick out the design? Do you pick out the design, or does somebody else pick out the design?
Somebody else, and then usually it's always a very close friend of his that wants to bring him a present or something. I mean, on the first jacket, I picked up design from A to Z, which was very easy to do. It was a beautiful, luxurious, the best leather, navy leather with a seal in the front and a big seal in the back. Which one thing that's smart that I did, I guess, is that I made two jackets like that. Every time I made a jacket for a big celebrity or something, one of our icons of our time, I make two jackets. I give him one of the jackets, and I keep the second jacket for myself. And most of the time, I get the second jackets to be signed by that person. So I still own one of the original Bill Clinton's presidential jacket.
What was his reaction when you presented him with the jacket?
Oh, he loved it. I mean, because everybody's used to the beautiful jacket, the regular varsity jacket, like a wool jacket with a little embroidery. But this is all hand cut leather or hand pieced together, and it just every time I ran into him, and I ran into him since he's been out of office many times, and always remember those jackets.
Tell me about potentially making a jacket for President-elect Joe Biden.
I cannot go as nuts and crazy as I'd like to be kind of in my championship jacket as I do for LeBron or for one of the music stars. But it's kind of a very simple jacket. But I really insist of having the best craftsmanship done. I mean, I sign every jacket on inside. I usually put like a message on the inside, like a great limited edition plaque, and I just put whatever my feelings of how I feel about that person.
From a fashion standpoint, I feel like the Bill Clinton jacket, it fit him to a T. It was
Right.
it was form fitting. It was snug. It felt like captain of the varsity football team. What sense of style do you get for President-elect Biden when you're creating a jacket? What do you see in his swag?
I think he has it. I think he has it, and he's been around enough that, like, even though people say he's a little older, he's still very young at heart, and he has that personality that he knows how to carry himself very well, and I'm very excited to have him as the next president.
You got to get one for Kamala Harris too.
Absolutely, absolutely. There's no doubt I will be doing one for her.
How
I'm very
how
excited as well.
how monumental would that be? Number one, to have a female vice president, but also it wouldn't be traditional black. Would you do pinks? Would you do, her sorority
No,
is AKA, so pink and green are her sorority colors.
yeah, of course, yeah, Harvard University. So probably will be doing. Most likely, I try to be very conservative. When you deal at that level, I don't think you're gonna be too funky. So I think most likely something like navy as a background, and just whatever logo that we have. At the time, I did jackets also for Vice President Al Gore as well, and it was also something very subtle.
I like it. All right, enough politics.
Yeah.
When you,
We've had enough of those for the last 2 years. I mean, I don't know that I'm giving up, but I think we've had enough of it.
yeah, we've had enough politics, but one of the things that's still political is the politics of sport. And when you look at just, I guess, basketball, and you look at football, and you look at just all of the licensing stuff, how difficult is it for designers to get licensing for sports?
I think it's very difficult. I mean, listen, I've been in the sports business for 35 years, since probably 1987, probably 33 years. And I've had a lot of ups and downs, sold my companies, bought back my companies, and so on and so forth. And it's not that easy to get, even the fact that I'm so well introduced and so well connected to the sports figures, not only in obviously basketball is my love, but I'm very connected with the hockey world and the NFL world and the baseball world. I mean, whether it was the Barry Bonds or the Ken Griffey Jr. and all that stuff. But it's just not a given. Even though my product is very unique and I don't compete with anybody else, it's very hard to get a licensing deal. It's very expensive, and but I'm having said that, I'm negotiating with a lot of the big leagues also to recapture some of that. But I don't want to compete. I don't need to do the hoodies and the, the full life. I really want to come with the iconic jackets, like the one of a kind jackets that are mementos that people keep for their lifetime, for a lifetime.
Jeff, I remember late '90s, early 2000s, the race car jackets being a thing.
Right.
The M&M jackets, the Budweiser, the Anheuser.
Oh, the NASCAR, yes.
Um, you made a young high school kid like myself beg my parents to get that jacket. It wasn't leather, but it was more affordable for people, younger people, and people who liked your style. How difficult was it to get those licensings for the race car jackets as opposed to sports that play with a ball like basketball and baseball and football?
In the mid '90s, probably was very easy for me. I came in from a different angle. I really didn't fit into. I was not part of the whole NASCAR world, but jacket and racing and NASCAR was a natural. And once I started really again the same thing. I mean, I just was able to penetrate the market with all the big icons of racing, like Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon and Rusty was, and I started designing for them, and they only wanted my jackets. So every single driver, they needed my jacket before they got into the drivers meeting and doing whatever they need to do. And merchandising wise, up to date, that was probably my biggest success that I ever had in my career,
Mm-hmm.
to create those jackets. So once I started making the high-end jacket, I made a takedown of those jackets and made like the mostly like cotton jacket with all the embroidery to try to duplicate the look of what racing suit is. And at a time, I mean, from a sport that's really very very wide and very southeast, like really. You didn't see. I mean, you can go 200,000 people in a race. You're not going to see an African American person understand. Things have changed a little bit, but not that much, and me, like a guy with a French accent who's Jewish, in that world, so that you didn't see a lot of people like us in that. But so I started creating that, and because my distribution and my love was really kind of like always try to be part of the culture, because the culture embraced me with the NBA jackets and my sport jacket. I was able to introduce an art car jacket, which is such a clash, like racing, that has nothing to do with the actual city culture, and introduce it. And at the time, I remember I used to get so many. I remember CNN say, "How can you sell, a NASCAR jacket to the cities, and then to the inner cities?" And it was a very successful for me, and I loved it, because up to these days, everybody comes to me in the streets, and they say, I had the M&M jacket, I had the Goodrent jacket, I have this weekend I just did a car rally from New York to an exotic car rally from New York to DC, and a few people still had those jackets. They were wearing those jackets.
No, that's real. That jacket that you're wearing right now is pretty nice. Before we got on the air, I was looking at the zippers on your sleeve. Tell me about that jacket you're wearing right now.
This is a jacket. I just did it for myself, but it's a Python jacket. It's like a green Python jacket, but I'm using like the best. Those are like the Tom Ford zippers, like very, very big, and they look all the way up to. I just put like a lot of very expensive hardware on it, and just trying to spoil myself and make myself a nice jacket.
Who is one person in the entertainment field that you would like to work with that you haven't, past or present?
Past is probably easier to say, but present. That's going to sound very pretentious, but I cannot say, because I'm dealing with so many of them right now, all the greatest ones now. I've not done anything for Joe Biden yet, so that might be one. Like I like to do something for Kenny Hamilton, the race car driver, because I really think is one of the most amazing race car drivers of our time, and then the fact he's African American is just such a great thing, just especially in a sport that is not known to have African Americans on that. I mean, I've done stuff for the Rolling Stones, but not directly with them. And like some of those people like that, I'd love to do something for Rolling Stones, even though I've not met them personally. They've had my jacket, but I'd love to personally work and do some things for them directly.
I saw a picture with LeBron James in high school. He had a black Jeff Hamilton jacket. So you sent me your jacket back during All-Star when I was in Chicago. This guy shipped it to me. I wore it on camera. It was timely. We made it work. But I remember seeing a picture with LeBron James after the fact, and I knew that it was your jacket because I recognized, the stitching and the logos and all that stuff on the sleeve and everything else. He had a black Lakers jacket on back when he was in high school.
There was a black NBA jacket with all the all the team logos.
And and he had a Lakers hat on, right?
The interesting thing about it that nobody noticed, because I had that picture, and even myself, I didn't notice that not only I had a Laker hat on, but he had a Kobe jersey also. And it was like, like you knew that he was. I knew he was a Kobe fan. Listen, his generation grew up more watching Kobe play than Michael. So for him it was. I remember because when he was in high school, he gave me his shoes. They were Kobe's, those moon shoes.
No, I remember. I mean, you saw him with the jacket. You didn't give him the jacket. How did that work?
No, I gave him the jacket. At the time, I gave him the jacket way back then. It was kind of like a gray area at the time, But I met his stepdad, and I know it's very big in memorabilia at the time. I owned a lot of the jerseys, so I said, and everybody was buzzing about the name LeBron. He's going to be a great player, and we every year we hear this player is going to be the next Michael, is going to be the next Kobe, is going to be Magic, but we knew that LeBron was amazing, and I really say I need to get to this kid. I knew that when he used to come and play high school games, I mean they were selling out almost arena. He sold out Poly Pavilion when he played a high school game, So I knew that was very special, and so I made him the jacket, and I traded him for one of his high school jerseys and a pair of shoes, and.
Oh, man.
I just didn't want him to be publicized that much because at the time you couldn't do it. So I remember he got in trouble because he was wearing some kind of Mitchell and Ness jersey, and when they did the article that he was, he got caught wearing somebody was gave him some present. He was not allowed to get a present, which I still don't understand why not. Uh, Instead of putting the Mitchell and Ness jersey, they put my jacket on it. That was one of those pictures.
Wow, that was one of the. Wow.
Yeah, but they never mentioned my name. Mitchell and Ness got the slack. I did not.
So this was another jacket. It wasn't the black jacket.
It was that black jacket. Yeah, and at the time it was probably what 2001, 2000, 2002 because it came out in 2003. So I put in on the on the inside King James at the time already.
Wow. Wow. You've been around Michael, you've been around Kobe, you've been around Shaq, you've been around sitting U.S. presidents, Nelson Mandela. What is something that
Red Fox?
the late Red Fox, the comedian.
Yeah, Red Fox used to come and used to hang with me when I used to own Guess jeans, so he used to come and buy jeans from me. He used to pay me cash, like the miss was for real, and he was the greatest. I did the jackets for Martin, Martin Lawrence.
Intro for Martin Lawrence. That was your. Yeah. I learned that recently.
Yes. So there was a lot of kid and play. I mean, during all and I stay friend with all those guys. I'm still a very good friend with all those guys, and I still love it. So it's.
No, that's real, man. That's real. Did it ever bother you? I remember back when, when I was talking about the race car jackets, you'd see a lot of knockoffs. Did it bother you when people were knocking off your jackets?
Yes. It still bothers me to this date. I mean, a lot of companies are still trying to ride my wave, my ups and down waves. So and it bothers me because a lot of companies are even trying to use my initials and try to confuse the public to think that they are Jeff Hamilton. But whoever knows, because everybody still try to go. I don't go through shortcuts myself. My work is, I'm not going to tell you I'm going to get you a jacket next week. If it takes 4 weeks, 5 weeks, I'll make it, and I'll keep on making the jacket. The jacket comes that perfect. So and obviously my jackets are very expensive. And unfortunately, that kind of limits a little bit my distribution. But I'm coming out with different versions where I'm taking takedowns of my high end prices and making it affordable prices to try to reach out more of the market, and to that extent, I have a collaboration ongoing with Mitchell and Ness where we dropping a lot of different product at price point. I mean, it's still not very cheap, but not inexpensive, but still but affordable that people can actually afford and they can get a piece of it. But the really high end leather jackets are very expensive because they all handmade, they all one piece at a time.
The Lakers jacket that you made, how long does it take to make one jacket?
Probably about 4 weeks, 3 weeks to 4 weeks. I mean, from beginning to end. I mean, if one person was handling it from beginning to end, probably something like that. But we were making in production, so we make different logos and we put it together. So we probably save some time.
How many people does it take to make one jacket?
Probably about 10 people.
Okay. And is it you're getting leather, you're dyeing it? Does the leather come?
We buy the leather. I buy the leather in the colors already. I mean, that's something that we have, and the process is I need to have special. I mean, I have my cutters, my art. I'm true artist, so we cut basically the leather a piece at a time, with a little detail, every little detail with a little X-Acto knife, and then we stitch it. Then we have it, and then we glue it, and we stitch it, and then we put the whole jacket together. So it's the sewers and the cutters are different people, and we just try to coordinate everything the right way.
Drake wore a Kobe Bryant custom leather jacket in Toronto in 2016 during the NBA All-Star game, and you see one picture where LeBron is playing defense against Kobe. Kobe's dribbling the ball with his right hand, and then you see Drake clapping his hands. And the way that the picture goes, you're smiling as I'm saying it, but as the way the picture looks, I'm looking at it on your Instagram page right now. You see a picture of Kobe in a yellow or purple and gold Lakers uniform and in the jacket. And so, from what I understand, your social media was off the charts because you worked something out with Drake where he posted it and whatever. And I don't like to count people's pockets, but how cool is that moment in retrospect? The fact that Drake tributed Kobe in Toronto at the first non-US All-Star game, like that whole synergy there. How crazy is that looking back on it?
Oh, it was amazing, and just I mean, Drake being such a great artist and such a big also icon of our times, and being able to commission me to do that jacket, and so he had a lot of input on what the idea, what he wanted. He had a very clear idea of how to do it. I mean, there was a logistics that we need to deal with the fact that the jacket. Had to have the Nike logos, it had to have the NBA logos. I was not an NBA licensee at the time, so I had to go through the NBA, all the red tape to make sure that it was done. And the jacket came out really special. So I mean, obviously the jacket was very expensive. The jacket was like $7,000 or $8,000, and so I worked out a deal with Drake that he was going to pay me a big portion of that, and the rest he was going to make me a post and and tag me. So because Instagram, I was growing my Instagram. So that weekend, probably my Instagram jumped like 50,000 followers in a weekend. And everybody kind of like up to this date, I said I did the Drake jacket, and that's it. Everybody, if I'd had that jacket today, I probably at $7,000 or $8,000, I probably could sell 100 or 200 jackets today if I had it. But I just so to that extent, I'm working on a couple of projects, hopefully that will drop, and I'm working with probably like a large, a big name company that we are hoping to drop it for Kobe's induction. The interesting part of that jacket is that he didn't give the jacket to Kobe, and he gave it to Steph Curry. Steph Curry owns the jacket.
He gave Steph Curry that Kobe jacket
Yes.
in Toronto.
Yes. I don't know. I mean, I would assume he would have given it to Kobe, right? But he gave it to Steph Curry.
So he just wore it one time and gave it away.
I think he wore it a couple of times, but then he ended up kicking. I saw an interview one time when he gave that jacket to Steph Curry.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. What are your memories of Kobe Bryant? When did you first meet him? What games of his stands out to you?
There's so many memories. I mean, I've met him so many times, and and I've done a lot of jackets for himself, for Vanessa, and it was a very special person. I mean, he was a kid. I mean, when I met him, I remember sitting on the court. I had courtside seats because Jerry Buss. I originally, that's how I got my floor seats at the Lakers. I traded jackets with Jerry Buss, and he wanted to give me season tickets. I said, no, I don't want season tickets. I want season tickets on the court. He said, well, you're gonna have to wait. I said, well, I don't care. I'll wait as many years as you want, but I want only to sit on the court. And so I sat. And so when Kobe came in, I was really excited because you could see he was so anxious to play. He was like a ball of fire tried to explode because he was just so excited to be part of it, and the way he carried himself, just like Michael, and it was beautiful. And I met him probably when he just came in early on, and friends of mine did some signings with him, so I would attend all the stuff when I was around him, and he was very. He seemed to be very. I mean, people don't know, but he was kind of shy and into himself a little bit. But as he obviously as he became what Kobe is and always will be, he was a little bit more secure, obviously, of himself, but always been very classy, very elegant, a man of his word, and that's always, he's always going to be missed. He's always going to be in our heart. We love him.
Yeah, I miss Kobe, man. I miss Kobe a lot.
He was a good man. He was a really good man, and we are fortunate to have some of our NBA players to be such great icons and such great people. Like LeBron is such an amazing human being for what he does to his community. Not only they do and put all their heart and soul on the court, but what they do off the court, and especially this year with Black Lives Matters, and the way they have a voice and they know how to use their voice in the right way, not for a selfish reason, for all the schools that he puts together, and all the way that he helped out all his friends and all his managers and that grew up with him. He just, I read one of his posts that he did 2 days ago about his mom, and knowing where he comes from, some such like underprivileged areas in Akron, and just to be elevating himself and still being a real man is just I admire. This is what I admire the most in the people in what they achieve, not only on the court but also off the court.
Every time I talk to you, we I learned something new about you, and I learned today about that Mitchell and Ness and Jeff Hamilton jacket story with LeBron. But I also learned about the Steph Curry exchanging of the jacket, and I also learned that Joe Biden or President-elect Joe Biden, as well as Kamala as well, may end up getting a Jeff Hamilton jacket. So I'll be checking out for that as
They
well.
will. Sure. It's 100% sure that they will get it. This is the question is when, but I'm very anxious. This is a kind of situation where you really want to go and not only give them the jacket, but you want to give them a hug at the same time.
So yes, Joe Biden will be getting a jacket from the one and only Jeff Hamilton, and Jeff Hamilton also has a collaboration with All Rocks Leather. He also has a collaboration with Mitchell and Ness. How crazy is it? They didn't mention the name in the article with Mitchell and Ness with LeBron, but now you have a collaboration with Mitchell and Ness. That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Jeff, thank you so much for your time, my brother.
Thank you, Scoopy, and always a pleasure to be with you. Always glad to see your beautiful face and your great interview. I love always chatting with you.
Yes, sir. Heavy Live with Scoopy, over and out. Talk to you guys probably tomorrow. Take care.
Thank you, Scoop.